Quitcheers Podcast.
Podcast yarn!
Hello, listeners, watchers, and podcasters.
Welcome back to the Quitcheers Podcast. Where you will be going to advice by, teachers who quit their jobs but never stops.
Exactly. So this is your very own Quitcheers Podcast. Cast.
Wow. Okay, so another day, another topic.
Exactly.
And before anything else, before we start our podcast, I am your early retired teacher.
I like that.
It's quite an interesting name. So I'm your early retired teacher. In short, teacher nga nag-retire because di ganahan og gamay nga sweldo. And that is me, Teacher Lyndee. Hello everyone.
Alright, so that's quite interesting, your story. But by the way, I am also your SPED teacher before in Spain for 5 years. Yes. But I go back here in the Philippines because I chose the AFAM savings card. You know, AFAM is life. By the way, I am your teacher, Lalaine.
Okay, AFAM is life. Okay, so for our new listeners and watchers and for our new podcasters for today, they might be wondering why we're doing this. So why are we doing this, by the way?
Yeah, so actually we're doing this to share our knowledge. So since we are teachers before, so we would like to share our expertise, our skills to our valued listeners and watchers that is exactly based on our experiences.
Yes, and actually we're doing this because some people might need our little help, and there are a lot of students and of course a few educators out there who badly need some guidance, and we might we might have something to give them, and so we're doing this.
Yeah, so actually just based on our experiences, so we could give them the advices or the answers of their questions.
Yeah. Okay, so how's your day, teacher?
Oh, I like that question. Actually, I'm very happy and grateful this day because we have just celebrated our 5th year anniversary with
Wow! Oh my God!
Spaniards.
Bananakop!
Yes, that's Spaniards because he's from Spain actually.
Okay, so I hope I have someone to celebrate a 5-year anniversary with.
Yeah, so we will going to celebrate it later at Hannah.
Okay. Oh my God, sana all. That is the definition of sana all.
Yeah, so I hope that you could also find your someone.
Yeah, the love of my life,
Yeah.
But I've been single for so long, so someone, you can hit me up. Okay, so
Moving on.
So
Yeah.
I've noticed that you have changed, and for the better. So you've changed the way you dress, and I can also notice a change with your accent. Oh my God! So can you give me a little story about that?
Yeah, so before I would like to answer that, let's have a wine first.
Yes, so we have a wine here. So
Yeah.
this is sponsored by, what is this?
The Lalaine
from Spain. Okay,
So
drink
let's
responsibly.
have a cheers.
Cheers! Oh my God. So let's sip first. And for those who are watching this podcast, you can also have a sip of your drink. Maybe it's water or whatever. You can drink with us.
Yeah, so tanduay.
Low budget,
Baby.
tanduay. Okay, let me remove this one because it's bothering my face. Okay, so.
But I won't remove mine because it just fit perfectly.
Wow, sana all.
Yeah, so I just bought this from
It's
Spain.
quite hot
So
here.
everything that I wore today, I bought them at Spain.
Wow. So
With my dazzling earrings here. Yeah.
yeah. So
It's like
Let's-
I'm carrying Holy Universe. The
Wow!
entire universe, yeah.
now I can beat that. Okay. So give us a little, story about how you have changed
Yeah,
for the
so,
better.
Actually, as you can see, the way I speak, it's not actually that it's changed a lot, but I was able to adapt to the place where I came from or where I teach. Yeah, so that was in Spain. So as you all know, I've been teaching there for 5 years. So
Yeah.
from that 5 years of experience, I was able to adopt from their culture,
Yeah.
the way they dress, the way
Yeah.
they talk, and everything about them. And I think in social studies, that is called acculturation.
Yeah, acculturation.
Yes.
That is interesting.
Mhm.
Can you give me like the definite, meaning of
Alright.
it?
Yeah, so to
So for
define,
those people who have
don't
no
know,
idea
yeah,
about this.
so for those who don't have a background about what a acculturation is, so basically it's adopting other cultures.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
simple as that.
yeah. So
Adapting other
it's
culture.
it's like adapting how they work or how they move in their country and how they basically dresses. So that is what's going on right here.
Yeah,
so
so-
slay.
Yeah, slayed, perfectly slayed. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, but even though you've changed for the better, I can still really see the Boholana in you. Like it's still
yeah,
visible
we
up to
could-
this day.
Exactly. We could not deny that teacher Lyndee because I grew up in Bohol and I was born and raised here in Bohol. So
Where specifically?
yeah, so in the city of friendship in Tagbilaran.
Yes, Tagbilaran.
Yeah, so I cannot deny that the culture of being a Filipina, specifically of being a Boholana, still remains with me. So I think in social studies, as far as I can remember,
Yeah.
that is called as cultural integration. So
Yeah.
it's being defined as adapting to other culture, the culture in Spain where I lived for 5 years there, so I was able to adopt. However, I was
Yeah.
still maintaining our very own culture, which
Yeah.
is the Filipino culture or the Boholana culture. So
Yeah. So
yeah.
that is nice. No, so even though you have actually adopted the
Yeah.
culture of your husband, you
Yeah.
still remain, there's still a touch of Boholana spice in you, and you have, remained true to your roots, and
Yes.
you never forget where you came from. So that is. So for those.
I can remember a joke with that. So
Can you share a little joke?
it doesn't mean that you visit a specific country, specifically that I lived in Spain for 5 years. It doesn't mean that when you get back home, you can already speak your very own language.
Yeah.
So
Oh my god, that is
I can-
embarrassing.
I can remember one friend of mine. So she just only lived in I think America for just 2 years, and yeah, so when she gets back here in our country,
Yeah.
so she keep on speaking English. So it's just that we could see to hear that she could not fluently speak our very own language.
Yeah, and
very,
that is.
very bad. So
That
I
is
think
weird,
we
'cause-
we shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So-
cultural integration also means that while you adopt other cultures, so your own culture will
Still
still
remain.
remain.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
We
that's
should never
the
forget
essence.
our roots.
Exactly.
Okay.
So to move forward, so I can
so
also
hot. Like it's so hot in the Philippines, like the warmth.
Yeah, so the weather here is just totally different from
Yeah, it's humid.
Spain.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as what I can also observe, teacher Lyndee, from
Yeah.
the way you dress, it's just that you have adapted to your class before.
Yeah.
You're like a kid, a baby dress. What do
Yeah.
you call that? Since you're teaching multi-grade, right?
Yeah. So like it's how the teens dresses nowadays. And yeah, so I kind of adapted the Gen Zs, So
It's like you're adapting the baby the way.
yeah. And
I think it's normal.
yeah, it's normal basically because I've been, teaching multi-grade, and I've, teach multi-grade pupils before, and somehow I kind of adapted the way they dresses and even how they speak, because you need to also speak the way they can comprehend it. So basically you're going to speak like baby, like like stuff
Yeah.
that they can already understand.
Yeah,
So
I believe from your experience as a multi-grade teacher, you need to adjust.
yeah,
right?
so basically I've adapted the way they dresses and the way they speak, and that is based on what I have remembered, that is enculturation. It's
yeah, so
ad-
it's different
from
acculturation.
culture integration.
Yeah, so as what you mentioned, as what I have mentioned earlier, I talked about acculturation. On the other hand, Lyndee will also, teacher Lyndee, by the way, will further discuss more on enculturation,
So
right?
so enculturation, by the way, to make it more comprehensible for all of you, enculturation is basically learning the culture of where you are surrounded with. So or what you're surrounded with. So basically you learned something from your friends, from your parents, and it is called cultural transmission. So basically you're going to the culture that they will going to instill the culture that they have learned to you. So yeah, basically that's happening.
Yeah, so I can relate also as a matter of fact. My daughter, I had a 2-year-old daughter, and
Yeah, it's not really visible that you're a mother.
yeah,
That
so
is nice.
when I get back to the Australia, I left her with my mother. So she's with her grandma all the time, and they had a conversation. I could see to her that she's speaking Cebuano Visayan language perfectly, like Mama, kumusta ka?
that
She's
is
so very cute.
adorable.
Mama, mahal kita.
Wow, sana
I think that's Tagalog. Yeah, so,
multilingual.
that's
Okay.
exactly what enculturation or the cultural transmission.
Yeah, that is enculturation.
They are learning the culture from the elderly, and it's being transmitted to the young generation.
Yes, exactly. So now about we read some of your messages.
Yeah, so I can also, as addition to what has been discussed or what has been conversed earlier, there are also different characteristics of culture, right?
Yeah, okay,
Before we can
yes.
forget.
Okay, so culture is just like what happened to you and your daughter. Culture is learned. So basically, they will learn something because they are not born with the culture, so they can learn it. And culture is
Shared.
What
Culture
else?
is integrated,
Adaptive.
encompassing,
Yes,
integrated, and
gratifying, and a lot more.
Exactly.
Okay,
Alright.
so let's read some of your messages. And by the way, we have our own little script right here because we need to have the flow
For the questions.
for the messages.
And the questions, exactly. So I have also here with us our own phone for us to read some of your
messages. Okay,
So starting with
okay, so I'll be going to read. So this message is from the student of Bohol Island State University.
so that's
And her name is
interesting.
Josberg Harley. My god, this name sounds so American. Okay.
also she is from Baiso, Bohol Island
Yeah.
State University, the only state university in Bohol, in our province.
Yeah, a dream, a thought, a reality.
Baiso.
A vice once.
Yeah, so can you read more what she wrote?
Okay, so she wrote, "Hi podcasters, I'm Josberg Harley. I'm an edu student and I'm having a teaching internship next week. And I need to discuss about teaching materials and teaching resources. And unfortunately, I've had to, research on my own because the notes aren't provided by my mentors and I did not study or understand a thing about these two. Please help me, Quitcheers. I'll be patiently waiting for your response."
Alright, so I think I will be the one to answer that. Yeah,
Can
so
you share some of your expertise?
to become a teacher, you will undergo different process. So just like what again is her name? Josberg. So difficult to
Josberg.
pronounce. Yeah, so Harley, just to become it easy. So I will just call her Harley instead. So Harley is now on her teaching internship, right? So you know what? It's very crucial for becoming teachers. It's part of the process.
Yeah.
You need to undergo the teaching internship so that you will be molded with such knowledge, skills, and what is really on the ground or in the field of being a teacher. Yeah. So, as what she asked, so she will need an advice of what specific
What is
resources,
teaching materials?
yeah, teaching
and
materials
teaching
to be
resources.
used exactly, right?
I mean, she is confused on the definition between the two.
All right, so So to give you a short summary or to short introduction, I will define first what is the difference of both. But as a teacher, resource really plays a crucial part in the teaching and learning process. So in education, the meaning of resource is any device or material or object or machine that is used by the teacher to enliven the subject. On the other hand, so the teaching learning resource, these are resources that is used by teachers to assist learners to meet the expectations for learning that is being defined in the curriculum. So basically, these are the materials used by teachers to supplement classroom instruction or to stimulate the interest of the learners. So basically, the teachers will cater to the need of the students. So if the students need that audio kind of material, so basically the teacher, oh my god, so as what I have said, it's fit but it's slowly detaching from my head. Oh my god. Alright, so the teacher should also consider their learners. So if their learners are easily catching or learning on the visual or the audio, rather the audio first, let's discuss more in the audio. So basically the teacher would integrate, so Harley rather, you should integrate the audio with audio materials such as the speakers and the radios, most importantly. On the other hand, if your learners are learning more in visual, so you should utilize visual aids. Exactly,
like
pictures, charts and etc. And also when your learners are learning both more on audio and visual, so obviously you will integrate both.
So like for example, like the film strips, like
and others, the
PowerPoint.
movies, PowerPoint, multimedia, presentation, and others. So I hope Harley that I was able to answer your questions. So for more questions, you are free to raise your questions in
the comment section.
Exactly.
Okay, so what is the next?
So I have also here a question. So someone sent a letter from the University of the Philippines. Alright. So very prestigious school in the Philippines, University of the Philippines. Oh my god. So he is Aaron Ralston. His name is Aaron Ralston. So his question is, hi Quitcher, I'm from the UP and I'm also an educator. I'm in my first year and our teacher assigned us to have a reporting about the purposes of assessment. And I'm not quite sure with what I have researched. So what's the difference between the three purposes? I think so the difference of they're just spelled like, oh my god, spelled like with the difference of for and as,
but it's, I think, really quite confusing. I can't really understand. Okay, so
can you explain more further about this?
Yes.
Alright.
So basically, there are three purposes of assessment. We have assessment of learning, assessment for learning, and assessment as learning. So when you talk about assessment of learning, it is, the process of assessment where you will be going to assess the acquired knowledge of your students. So basically, you're going to test whether they have, what are their the knowledge, the things that they already know. So that is basically assessment of learning. So do not get confused. It's like basically you just have to understand the word acquired. So that's the concept that you have to remember. Exactly, you have to remember acquired knowledge, acquired learning. So when you talk about assessment for learning, it is the process where you will going to assess your learners needs. So basically, what are their needs? So what are the things that you can integrate for you to know the strengths and the weaknesses of your students? And that is also you did not ask for this, but this is a formative type of assessment where you'll be going to give feedback in the instructional process. So that is how you're going to know their strengths and weaknesses. You need to assess them in the process, in the moment of the teaching and learning process.
Alright.
So lastly, we have assessment as learning.
Alright.
So when I was still a student, I was really confused with these three. So assessment as learning, it is the process of assessment where your students will going to assess what they have learned and where areas they have to improve themselves. So it is self-directed, so they have to assess whether they have understand this concept or this topic or not, so that they will going to also improve the way they learned that certain topic. So let's have a recap. Assessment of learning, acquired knowledge, acquired.
So just remember those
yeah.
words.
Yeah, these are the concepts that you need to remember. Acquired knowledge and assessment for learning is you need to assess their learning needs. And lastly, assessment as learning, this is self-directed. So I hope that I've answered your question.
Alright, so Aaron, I hope that teacher Lyndee has able to answer your question. So that's quite confusing rather,
Yeah.
but teacher Lyndee explained it very well.
Yeah,
very
I hope
well
it's
said.
understandable.
Yeah, so I
Comprehensible.
think we've come to end of our podcast, and it was
Yeah.
quite an interesting one. So, but before we will end this podcast rather, let's have a drink
Yeah.
first.
I have
Yeah, so
that is refreshing.
yeah, all right. So
Okay, I hope that you have learned something from our podcast for today. It's quite long, but there are a lot of things that we have to still discuss, but we have limited time.
yeah,
so
we're running out of time.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So
okay, so I hope that you enjoy it.
so I also enjoy talking here with
Yeah, I missed you so much.
Yeah, I
Like,
miss you
it's
so
really
much.
nice to see you in person, because we have this podcast virtually, but it's really different when you talk to someone in person.
yeah, for those who didn't know, teacher Lyndee is my best friend
Yeah.
before in college. Yeah, so we both
have
met-
some cheating moments.
Oh my god. But it doesn't matter because we're now on our
Respective careers.
alright, so
Okay, so
I think that's all.
this is the end of our podcast for today, and we'll see you in the next one. This is your teacher, early retired teacher, Teacher Lyndee.
Alright, so I am also your SPED teacher before, but now choose the
Afang life.
Afang savings card. Oh my god.
So see you to our next podcast. Bye.